Welcome back to the Keiser Report. Time now to turn to Chris Ellis of ProTip Project on startjoin.com. Chris, welcome to the Keiser Report.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
All righty. So in London, next to the city of London, is what's called Tech City, or the Silicon Roundabout, and it's become a very exciting place for startups. And Chris, what we've tried to do with our show and also with StartJoin and StartCoin is to feed this revolution, feed this crypto revolution, feed the young minds, the brilliant minds who are in the fintech space and the high-tech space, but there's also a lot more going on because this project that you've got here, ProTips, and this is really a remarkable development in the revolution of content and monetization of content. And a lot of this is all coming together. It looks sexy as all heck. So anyway, Chris, what talk about this project?
Right, so there are two parts to this project. It's part art project, this a dedication to Ai Weiwei's sunflower seeds project that he did back in 2011 at the Tate Modern, where he had made millions of little porcelain sunflower seeds. And I was so taken with his work, I had the pleasure of seeing his work thanks to a generous donor of ProTip recently, that I was inspired to build Bitcoin Fullnodes as my art piece. The other part of it is a fundraiser for ProTip. ProTip is a light Bitcoin wallet that runs in the browser. It automatically detects Bitcoin addresses on web pages, whether it be YouTube, your blog, on SoundCloud. So if you've already got a Bitcoin address, or even if you don't, put it on your content, and anyone that's using ProTip will automatically detect your Bitcoin address. Now, at the end of the week, it tallies up your top 10 websites based on how much you kind of interacted with them. It's a little bit based on time, a little bit based on mouse movement, so we can see what you're doing. And it invites you to either manually or automatically donate whatever you've got in your wallet. So it's like a subscription service.
Okay, first of all, you can move that box onto the table.
Okay.
These are already units that have been crowdfunded by folks, I think for £100.
£100.
Essentially, you are crowdfunding or acquiring a full node.
Yes, a Bitcoin full node, that's correct.
A Bitcoin full node. Now, when I get my full node, I can essentially tap into the network.
Yes.
And there's a network of content creators and content consumers. And if I'm a consumer, then I have the ability to essentially acquire what I'm consuming using Bitcoin to those out there in the network who are creating and contributing to the network. And what I liked about this so much is that in an era we live in today where the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, is out there attacking people like Kim Dotcom in New Zealand in extrajudicial roundups and taking and arresting and trying to extradite, the content industry, the copyright industry, has gone berserk. They've gone insane. They've dominated the content space in ways that are completely unhealthy. This is more about what you call the commons and the growth of the commons. It harkens back to Aaron Swartz, I would imagine, to some degree. Can you speak a little bit about it?
Yeah. So Bitcoin represents a revolution of the commons. It's a revolution of publishing, actually. What the internet did was it allowed existence to emerge without a stable spatial referent. But the problem was that it lacked a vital property in nature. Economics is made necessary by nature because everything has to have a stable spatial referent in order for it to exist, in order for us to interact with it. But what the internet did was it allowed the proliferation of data such that you and I can both engage in an asynchronous appreciation of Nyan Cat for 24 hours, let's say. Okay? And the problem is, because it didn't capture this property of scarcity, it became necessary, particularly in the late 2000s with the banking crisis, for somebody to come up with digital scarcity or virtual scarcity. And that was Satoshi Nakamoto in his white paper. He crowned what he called a single history that everyone could agree on, or as Gadamer, the 20th century philosopher, would say, that consensus is that which cannot be overthrown, even in the presence of misunderstanding. So we need to create, you must be familiar with the Norman Rockwell painting, right? Freedom from Fear.
Sure, Norman Rockwell, classic American Nakana painter.
He made a painting called Freedom from Fear, where, you know, these parents, they're tucking their children to sleep at night, but the father is holding a newspaper in his hand. He's checking the state of affairs of the world whilst his children sleep. The fact is, we can't be up all the time. We do not know what's going on behind closed doors. And so we needed an autopoietic system that could run even in our absence, such that when we wake up in the morning, we can return to what's known as the Bitcoin blockchain and trust that whilst we were away, it operated as expected. So everyone plays on the same playing field. That is, 180 degrees different to what we currently have in the financial system, which is an allopoetic system. That means that it relies on an external dependency.
Okay, now Chris, you sound like one of these early adopters that was bitten hard by the Bitcoin bug in the early days. You know, because now in 2015, we've got banks into the blockchain, and they're creating consortiums.
Oh.
They're doing. Let me just finish this here for a second. So they are co-opting this technology essentially to crush their back office costs to save a lot of money. Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan has made a comment. You got Blythe Masters, who's now into the blockchain space, and she's definitely not talking in the same way you're talking. I mean, you and Blythe Masters would be completely on opposite ends of a conversation.
This is the distributed ledger space. You're not allowed to use the word Bitcoin at these meetups I've been going to. And the meme at the moment, you're not even allowed to say blockchain anymore. For a while, it was blockchain, and that was the mimetic vector. But now, memes don't have to be truthful, but they have to be useful. Okay, so they do spread across the network. There are more human beings alive today than there were on the planet in 1960. So the ability to be discovered is so easy now. And when these banks talk about blockchains and distributed ledger systems, they're euphemisms. What they're really trying to do is they're trying to capture. They won't play a game unless they can cheat. In your words, actually, from one of your earlier shows, they will not engage in any contract unless they have the controlling interest in that contract. Bitcoin is open source. Every single one of these devices, in fact, let me show the one that's actually working now. So this is currently synced with my mobile phone. It is downloading the Bitcoin blockchain. It is powered with an inexpensive battery. This one happens to be used for e-cigarettes, but it can be anything. And it automatically, as soon as you power it on, got a little Wi-Fi adapter connected through my phone. Not only is it downloading the blockchain, it is also relaying transaction for light wallets like ProTip or like Bread Wallet on the mobile phone. So there are two types of nodes. There's the SPV nodes, the lightweight wallets that can't download the whole blockchain. And then there are the full nodes, which do download the blockchain. Now, you do not get a miner with this on StartJoin because I didn't want to get into that business, but you can, for not very many pounds or dollars, buy an ant miner that connects into it, and then all of a sudden you're mining Bitcoins and you're processing transactions.
And just a quick note here, when some of the verbiage that one finds when you go to www.startjoin.com/ProTip.
Yeah.
ProTip. Now you can essentially pre-buy one of these, and these have already been pre-bought.
You can't now; they're all sold out.
These are sold out, but we're going to, definitely keep abreast of this. You have a note about not made entirely in China.
Yeah. No, so its subtitle is not just made in China, right? So we made ProTip for artists. I am an artist. I have a YouTube channel called World Crypto Network, and we were finding it difficult to fund our shows. And so having a background in coding, I recruited well, I didn't recruit, I sought the expertise of a good friend of mine called Leo Campbell, who on his own esteem, actually, we were bouncing ideas around, and then Christmas Day, actually, 2014, he just emails me and goes, oh, that idea we came up with? Well, I just built it, And he showed me the prototype, and it just kind of rocked on from there, and then it really, really grew. So this is fully open source, by the way. None of this is captured. It doesn't phone home. We haven't got a server. We're not spying on you. There's no surveillance business model. We get paid the same way our customers get paid. We haven't taken any VC money. It's not available at any price. Okay, I will consider 21 million Bitcoins. 21 million Bitcoins. I will consider selling this out, but it's GNU v3 license, which means that you are free to take the code, go to protip.is, down at the bottom you'll see the GitHub. You can inspect the code, fork the code. Please do. We don't want to own this. We don't want to capture it. All that we ask
You're OBG, original Bitcoin gangster.
Right, if you like
it's
it.
It's OBG.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. You're talking about Richard Stallman and GNU and open source, the Creative Commons. This is what this is what we exist. This is why we're here. Exactly. This is why we talk to the people. So this is the manifestation of all that we've been working for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Chris Ellis, who is kind of a Tech City, Silicon Roundabout stalwart, and he's really shooting the lights out with this project. And I encourage everyone to take a close look at it. Now, originally you were seeking 500 pounds for this. You're over 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, 3,600 so far, I think.
And but So it's selling quite a lot of these things, but it's a production of them. It's handmade.
They're handmade. They're all handmade live on air. To me, 12 and a half hours. I tried to mimic as much as I could the working conditions of the Foxconn factory in the Henan province.
Really?
No joke.
There's little nets outside?
No joke. I mean, look, I'm guilty of it. I have a hipster device. I have one of those dreaded iPhones. I'm here in my Steve Jobs uniform. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to feel the pain that they felt. I'm going to do it again right after this show. We will be setting up another live stream where I finish off, because all of these need unit testing now.
Right.
Which means that I want to make sure that all the SD card's working, that there are no errors and so forth.
So that's kind of the English version of those conditions. So you're taking constant tea breaks.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I live on about £10 a day. I sleep in a friend's spare room, and I have lots of people who have been very kind and put me up. When you and Stacey talk on this show, you're talking directly to me. You're talking about me. And so
are you our love child?
Well,
Chris, are you my son? Son, what's going on? No, you know what? It might actually be my son. Is that fellow Mad Bitcoins?
Oh, Tom. Oh, man.
Tom. I think somewhere along the line I birthed him.
Tom is amazing. If you ever need to raise money and he likes you, he will raise you money.
Yeah.
And he's very good at that.
I made that suggestion earlier, and he stopped following me suddenly.
Oh,
so
really?
I think, no, I'm only kidding.
I'll fix that.
Let's talk about somebody in Botswana, because this is a global effect. So, how do you pronounce it?
Alakanani. She's known as Bitcoin Lady on Twitter, okay? And she's famous for bringing Bitcoin into Botswana. And we've been speaking over Twitter, and I've been saying to her, look, we raised the money to send her a Bitcoin Fullnode. In fact, we raised enough money to send her two. But she needs an internet connection. And so for our next campaign, as soon as we finish this one, because these have all sold out, in fact, they've more than sold out, because I had a whole bunch of people privately pre-order them before I even started the campaign. So by the time I finished, these full nodes will represent 1% of the Bitcoin network.
Really?
Yes. I want, because there are 5,500 nodes. If I make 500, which is my target longer term, then that will be 1% of the overall node distribution. And so I want to get this out to places like Botswana, Alakanani, but she needs $250 to buy an internet connection there. So that will be part of our next campaign. As soon as this one finishes on the 13th, that will be up and running and ready to go. Also in South America, we've got Rock Barcelos, who's ready to host a full node in Brazil. We've got somebody in Nepal, somebody in India, and we're also looking
They all watch our show. The show goes out globally. We get 20 million viewers.
Absolutely.
RT, the juggernaut, 10 years on the air. We're going to build a parallel. I'm going to be in Moscow. We're going to get everybody there to adopt this. Mm-hmm. And I should also mention that BitPay, who is the leading merchant processor of Bitcoin, has recently kind of jumped on StartCoin, StartJoin in a big way, and I talked to Tony Galippi about this, and he's very excited about what you guys are doing in Tech City as well. But we got to cut it off there. Chris, thanks for being on the Keiser Report.
No, you're very welcome.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Keiser Report with me, Max Keiser, and Stacey Herbert. I'd like to thank our guest, Chris Ellis of ProTip Project, listed on StartJoin.com. If you'd like to get in touch, tweet us at Keiser Report. Until next time, bye, y'all.